Salutations, pretty princesses. So we're going to be starting a new series that I may or may not continue. It depends all on my motivation. I don't know. Because you know me and how I always say I'm going to start something and then I don't. Basically what it's going to be is I go over urban legends or a single urban legend per state. So yeah, that's going to be 50 states. So are we likely to actually finish the series? Probably not, realistically. But we're going to be going in alphabetical order, so if your state is close to the top of the alphabet, then you're in luck. Anyway, so let's just begin. Everyone loves a good ghost story, and you know what state has them? Sweet Home Alabama. Imagine a city built on iron, a furnace that was known as hell itself, and a ghost story that fooled thousands. Today, we will be exploring the haunted history of Birmingham, Alabama. Okay, in order to actually understand why this place is haunted, or supposedly haunted, we need to take a trip down in history. Alright, so Birmingham, Alabama, was founded in 1871. It was actually named after Birmingham, England, to reflect all of its ambitious industrialism. Yeah. You want to know what makes this place really special though? Well, it's the fact that it had all three materials needed to make iron and steel. This included iron ore, coal, and limestone. With all three materials so close together, it was very easy to just simply move them by rail straight after mining and then shove them in some furnaces, within the same general area, that is. Because of this, the city grew very quickly. Investors were very drawn to the area, and workers also arrived to work in the mines, the furnaces, and rail yards. Because of this huge industrial boom, it gave the city the nickname Magic City. In 1880, Colonel James Sloss decided to build some furnaces in order to produce pig iron. The construction of this was carried out by a man named Harry Hargreaves. Speak, Casey. Hargreaves was a recently graduated engineer. He built 2 types of Whitwell furnaces. Each of them were 59 feet tall and about 18 feet in diameter. During just the first year, the furnaces produced a whole entire 24,000 tons of pig iron. Making that much money was very dangerous. The workplace wasn't very safe. The exact number of injuries at the Sloss Furnaces is not recorded, but there are claims that people were often injured or led to be permanently disabled. Regardless of injuries, sickness, anything, workers were expected to work. And these weren't short shifts, they were long. Missing work could mean missing pay and then not being able to feed your family. Working in the furnaces was like living in hell itself. But you know who made it worse? This guy named Slag. He was a night shift chief. That is a tongue twister. Night shift chief. Night shift chief. Night shift. Okay, you know, say that 10 times fast, see how you feel. So you know how those teachers oftentimes switch up their entire personality right when the principal walks in and starts making you do extra work for no reason just to look good? Well, that was Slag. But Slag is worse than any teacher because you know what? This is a dangerous work environment, and him forcing his entire crew to take dangerous risks caused many fatalities. In fact, it is said he caused the death of 47 whole workers. Not a single other chief had a record quite like Slag. But you know what? At some point when you're dealing with someone like him, you're gonna have enough. So let me tell you a story about Big Alice. Big Alice wasn't a person. No, It was the tallest blast furnace in all of Sloss. But you know what it's also known for? Other than its height? Slag. According to legend, he lost his footing at the very top of Big Alice and fell into a big, hot pool of iron. However, many people actually claim that he had been pushed by, of course, his annoyed workers. Since he had put them through all the trouble and caused many deaths, perhaps he deserved it too. Nonetheless, his death was documented as an accident rather than a murder. Alongside Slag, there were other people who died. But a more well-known tragedy was about a man who had just been eating his lunch, when all of a sudden his clothing got stuck on a crushing wheel. This caused him to be dragged into the machine, and every time he spun around, another part of him was missing. A very unfortunate end. But of course, this is all the becoming of a ghost story. With so many tragedies comes the creepy encounters, whether it be from simple paranoia or actual ghosts. In fact, Sloss Furnaces is considered one of the most haunted places in Alabama. Employees as well as visitors often claim to hear disembodied voices or claim to be pushed by invisible forces. And at night, the words "go back to work" are often heard, in a faint whisper. But such encounters are not the scariest that have ever occurred at the Sloss Furnaces. In 1971, the furnaces were on the verge of closure. Because of this, a night watchman decided to take one last walk around the furnaces just to be sentimental. This man was named Samuel Blumenthal. As he was walking, he suddenly came face to face with what he claimed to be a monster. The monster attempted to push him towards Big Alice's stairs, but he fought back. When he was found, he had third-degree burns, and they couldn't be explained. You want to know why? Well, the ovens were out. Even on his deathbed, he was so sure that this was what had happened to him. He died only a couple days after his encounter with this creature. But anyway, now it's time to tell you what actually happened because I like to ruin the fun, I guess. For each of these urban legends, I will be telling you the trueness of it, if there is. You know what I mean? While these tales are absolutely perfect for ghost stories, they aren't actually entirely true. In all actuality, historical records show something very different. Nearly all the stories I just told you were all created for an attraction. Yeah, they were all fake. So around the 1980s to 90s, the Sloss Furnaces were transitioning from an operational facility into a historical landmark. So you know what they needed? A way to draw people in, to get them interested in it, so that it wouldn't just get straight up torn down. They needed the money to preserve it as a landmark. So local organizers decided to come up with a fun event. And you know what it was called? Sloss Fright Field, which later became known as Sloss Fright Furnace. So yeah, basically it was all just legends to attract some people to come on over and check it out. Which I feel like the stories are very cool and very interesting. And if you do have a chance, I would go and check out the Sloss Furnaces. So anyway, next up on the list is Alaska, so stay tuned for whenever that comes out. I don't know how to end these. Stay clear of large furnaces. Goodbye.